This guy is such a beast, man. What's going on, everybody? My name is Joey Nato, and I am an artist slash music producer. But today we're gonna put the emphasis on music producer. I got some tweets and some comments within the last couple hours of people saying, yo, Genius just came out with this video of DJ Swivel, and he broke down how the beat was made for Euphoria. I don't even know if people necessarily said I should react to it, but I decided to because that's what I want to do. But I must say, today is gonna be a sad video because today might be the day that I finally get exposed. Because what I'm gonna do is something very daring. I'm going to react to Euphoria first and then react to the Genius video. That way I can like compare the two. You know what I mean? So this is a music producer reaction. I'm pretty much just gonna be focusing on the beat, the instrumental. Pretty much that's what DJ Swivel most likely is gonna focus on. Before we get started, if you like this video, then like this video. If you got something to say, put it in the comment section. And if you want more, subscribe. I'm not even gonna self-promote any of my stuff. I'm gonna just get right into this. Without further ado, BTS, Euphoria. Let's get into it. Where are my headphones? Where are my headphones?
Euphoria.
I gotta pause it right off the bat. Started off with the acapella, then it came in with like a transition, a swoosh effect, and then a gun in a BTS song? What's going on here? All of a sudden BTS stands for bucking them shots. It does have the DJ Swivel sound. Beautiful chords here. Using a poly synthesizer here for those chords. Oh, I've never heard a song really start this way before. Halftime. Trying to make out the sounds. Alright, now we're building up. Little filter effect. I want to pause it to talk, but I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about first. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff going on here, but if we're gonna nerd out a little bit on this one, I want to talk about the kick because first of all, DJ Swivel tends to have like this type of sound to him. He uses EDM type of sounds, but at like somewhere between, you know, 85 to 93 BPM. BPM means beats per minute. That's like the tempo that they're basically setting for the song. It's just the speed of that the song is going. But every time he has that kick in the song, it really stands out in the mix. I think a lot of it has to do with the compressor that he puts on it. In the compressor, you have attack, you have release. Those are two knobs on most standard compressors. I think he has the attack really low. It's kind of what it sounds like attack, like the sound comes at you faster. And the kick hits so hard through the mix, and I think whatever compressor he's using, that has a lot to do with it. The way he uses the equalizer on there does that too. Like I think he puts a lot of tone into the kicks that he uses by using a lot of like the mids or high mid frequencies to really bring it out. I like the synth sounds he used. I like that high pitch one in the background that's kind of had like almost like a fluty, like almost like if a flute became a synthesizer. That's kind of what it sounds like to me. The snare drum mixed with a clap is what it sounds like. It kind of had like its own unique sound to it, and I heard like tambourines here and there. And its breakdown here sounds like it has some electric guitars going in the background a little bit, but let's dive into it and see. Filter going up. Sounds becoming brighter. Okay, tricked me. Had that little crash cymbal here. We got two different synth sounds working with each other here. They're playing off of each other, and there's piano chords in the background. Beautiful. You got guitars panned all the way to left here, and we have, did I say guitars? Yeah, guitars panned to left here. Piano chords still going, but very dry sounding. Back to halftime here. Percussion sound with a lot of reverb on it. Okay. There's that fluty type synth sound in the background. He went all out for this production. He was like, oh, this is BTS, I can't mess this up. That video game effect sound. I like how the hi-hats are rolling into that snare. Like, I can't do it like, but I don't know. I don't know. I sound crazy. That was it. Once again, the song ends too soon, man. I said my piece about it. Let's see what DJ Swivel said about it. I'm definitely excited to see this and curious, and I'm ready to get exposed. It's about that time. If the audio is messed up, I'm sorry. My microphone and computer are just failing me as human beings today. Jeez, 12 minutes long.
A lot of times when I'm working on tracks, I associate colors with sounds. Sometimes I'll listen to a song and I'll just see a lot of like shades of orange or shades of blue maybe. And when I listen to Euphoria, I just see like shades of the rainbow.
I could agree with that. Very bright production, a lot of different elements there. That beat is beautiful though.
Euphoria is a solo song with Jungkook, who's one of the 7 members of BTS. You know, I sent it to them, and then, I mean, he's such an incredible singer, and I heard this amazing vocal back, and they added some really cool vocal harmonies in the hook, which I thought just added so much more to the drop. And to me, creatively, they're
I didn't even pay attention to that.
The boundaries so far. There's a lot of fearlessness in the art that they make and how they create it.
Yep, not scared about these different genres.
What I like a lot about K-pop in general so far, there's no fear.
Candace Sosa. She plays guitar, and I was inspired by the sound that was in this initial little demo. And I said, all right, let me take that and work with it. And it sort of all just came together really fluidly and naturally.
Oh, so that's a real guitar? Pretty cool.
You know, musically, when the song starts with that guitar, it's like, oh man, this just feels so good. Just like kind of warms you here. And then it's layered with a...
See, I would have thought it wouldn't have been a real guitar just because of that repetitive melody over and over and over. If you're gonna repeat that melody, the dan 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 dan, like I thought you would, you know, use like a guitar from like a software or something. But they used a real one, and you know what? That's why these guys are top notch, man, because they care about the quality of their sound, every little detail of it.
One is panned to the left, one is panned a little to the right.
I wouldn't have been able to tell that the right one was the guitar as well.
So once I have that, the piano comes in, and the piano is really driving the song just melodically from the chords and just where the song is moving.
Yep. A lot of those chords, a lot of time, they come up with them at like right at the beginning, and that's why I said my seesaw reaction. Suga was probably just playing around with chords and then came up with everything from there. I mean, that's not really what happened here. I mean, I don't think he started off with the guitar. I think he's lying. No, he probably did come up with the guitar and then the chords, but the chords a lot of times are the foundation. The chords tell you what key the song is, so you don't really know what next moves you can make as a producer or as somebody who plays instruments until you know what the key is, and usually the chords are going to tell you what the key is. So, yeah.
There's just Alicia Keys' piano, and then a Greg Wells just piano plug-in. It adds a little delay, a little bit of...
Delay is like echoes, kind of.
Brightens the piano up a little bit.
It's beautiful.
The chords are just so pretty and...
Pretty. I call them beautiful.
And they lend themselves to really nice vocal melodies on top of it. So that was a really good foundation for where the rest of the song went.
The chords a lot of times are the foundation.
The next thing that I add is a drum loop, which just helps add a little bit of rhythm so that the vocals have a
What do you use as a loop?
It's a melodic tom loop. And I use 4 different sounds for it.
Oh, they're like electric toms.
As you can tell, they move with the chords. I just added a simple kick drum. After that, we added a splash snare that just sort of creates a lot of space.
You hear how that kick hits so hard, though? He called it a splash snare.
After the drums were added, we have the guitar and the
that.
piano. Just in that second half of the verse, I added 2 pad sounds. It just allows the song to grow a little bit, and it sort of anticipates what's going to happen next.
I don't know if you guys ever heard me mention pads, but now you know what pads are. They sound like that.
And so once those pads were added, that was basically the entire section.
Calls it a splash snare. I mean, it's a snare with a lot of reverb
so after
going
the
it.
verse, the B section comes in, and this is really where the song is growing to at this point. You know, the song is called Euphoria. I wanted a B section that would be just really open and bright, and so we've done a ton of stuff in here to sort of achieve that. The main instrument there are these synth string sounds.
Synth string sounds? Okay. Yeah, I guess there's some strings mixed in there.
Piano chords from the intro, but it's played with more rhythm. And I was messing around with Serum. I found this cool sound in there that I modified a little bit. So after I had added the strings, the next thing I wanted to add was a synth pad. And I found this really cool preset in Silent.
Exactly what it sounds like, a mix between, or a blend of a synthesizer and a pad mixed together. So you got this really airy, atmospheric like sound, and then the synth that has, you know, like that raspy, like zzz, like sound to it. Zzz, what the? A synth is a synth. Come on, come on.
And I found this really cool preset in Silent, which I then modified a bit, called Pong. Then the way that I processed it is
you filtered it, right?
I added a filter.
Sorry.
The section moved along, making our way towards the chorus.
I like when I'm right. What did I say?
So once I had
EDM move right there.
those basic chord layers down and the energy going the way that I wanted, Candace added a guitar in this section, which sort of acts as the lead melody. I think it just adds a nice counter melody.
I don't know if I even noticed that. I didn't comment on it, but
anchoring this entire section, there's a sub bass. It's just a sine wave bass. It's about as simple a sound as
those simple sine wave basses are kind of hard to make out. You more feel them. With these sine wave bass lines, you kind of more feel them rather than hear them. It just creates a real solid bottom to the track, like more of a supportive bass. It really gives it some body. Those sine wave sounds, because they don't have a lot of tone to them. You can't really make them out. They don't break through the mix that much.
You know, every 15 seconds there's something new that happens, something that just keeps your brain thinking and you know, on its toes. These little vocal chops.
That's why change. That's why switch ups and beats are so important. Keep it interesting.
So after a few other smaller
vocal
sounds are added, this is what that entire B section sounds like.
This guy is such a beast, man.
So then coming out of that B section leading into the chorus, there's just a couple ear candy sounds that were added.
Like
just
what?
To be a nice little moment before
Tambourine?
the chorus drop.
And a gun cock. And a crash cymbal. Okay.
Sometimes music is like a
Big
collage,
haze.
and you
There
just
you
take
go.
these cool sounds and you try to see how they can play off one another and how they fit in, and a lot of it's just experimenting and messing around with it. So now once we get to the chorus,
Yes. If any aspiring producers are watching this, play with every single sound you hear. There is a home for every single sound that is out there. Please find its home.
this is sort of the release for the whole song. Everything opens up, so it gets nice and bright. The energy changes.
Tension
this whole
and
section
release.
was built around a main stab chord sound.
Stab chord. What? It's almost like I know what I'm talking about, right?
Found this really interesting synth, and it's got a slow attack on it. I've layered it with a filtered version just to get a little more low end out of the EQ.
Great sound choice there.
So once I had that main chord sound, I layered it with two other sounds just to add a little bit more attack to it and just raise the energy just a bit.
Okay.
And they're
That's
playing
how
the
he
exact
achieved
same
that
thing.
sound, okay.
It's just some sonic layers.
And it's really hard to hear that when I'm breaking down different beats that BTS makes. Because he said he combined 3 different synths to make one big synth sound. That's really hard for me to, decipher when I'm like listening to the beat. Woo, I'm loving this.
So once I had all of those main chords, the next thing I added was a bass pluck sound. And I've actually filtered out a lot of
Bass
the
pluck sound.
low-end frequencies from it. And I think it just added some interesting
Didn't even hear
rhythms
that.
in between what was happening with the chords. There's already a lot going on in the hook synth-wise, but there is
Yeah.
a bass there that sort of just follows the same chords that all those synths are doing. It's just there to anchor all of those sounds.
Okay.
So then finally in the chorus, we get to the drums. As you can see, there is
Let's talk about
a
the
lot of
drums.
drums. But if I play them all together, I don't think it really sounds like it's a lot. A lot of these little percussion things just
I
happen
agree.
one time, or they hit at little moments just to get a nice bounce happening. So I'll start adding them one by one so you can see what happened there.
Please show me how you mix the kick. Oh, got a big. There's the tambourine. There's those hats going in that hat roll, but it's like I can't do it. Wow, there's a lot of reverb here. Reverb. That's probably what makes it sound so open. But that is quite the plethora of sounds. And then he has that.
A lot of
Going on
that
the
is just
second part.
auditioning sounds and looking for cool, interesting new sounds that I maybe haven't heard before or haven't used before. And eventually,
Mm-hmm.
as you spend enough time on it, all these sort of sounds start to fit in as like a puzzle.
Now you heard what he just said about how he wants to look at sounds that he's never used before. Why does he want to do that now? Why hasn't he used these sounds before? Because it's more accepted. Music that isn't in the Western world, there's more freedom to use different sounds. He doesn't have to stick to the same stereotypical sounds that we use here in a lot of our radio music. He felt like he had more freedom to use these different type of sounds, and I mentioned that before. That here, if you don't use certain type of sounds that our ears are tuned to over here, then the song won't have that modern feel. But when you're producing for a group like BTS, there's no fear of genres. There's no fear of using different sounds. And that's why he felt like as a producer, he probably had a lot of fun with this because he could open up and use different sounds that he never used before. Rant over.
Start to fit in as like a puzzle, and they start to fit in together and find their home. Once you add the main kick and snare, the hook drums sound like this.
Okay. That is a pretty simple kick. He just chose a really good one for this track. Listen how much is going on
The
there.
last final sound, which is really the driving melodic layer of the chorus, is this vocal chop. Really, it
vocal
started
chop.
as layers of our initial demo vocal. I chopped it up in a way where melodically, I just liked what it did melodically. I didn't care if the words made sense or anything, because then I processed it quite heavily so that none of the words are discernible
That's why I
anymore.
probably can't tell. couldn't hear that.
So that's just actually Candace's vocal, and at the end, a bit of Jungkook's vocal. Once the vocal was processed in a way where it was nice and compressed and EQ'd the way that I wanted, I added Little Altar Boy. And this sort of pitches the vocal up. I added a bunch of reverb, and I added a side chain to it.
Little
and
Altar
then there
Boy?
were some other little frequencies that were jumping out that I didn't like, so
Plug in,
there's
I
a
guess.
de-esser on it. And finally, some delay.
So the de-esser makes it sound almost kind of muffled. He EQ'd that pretty heavily, taking a lot of midtones out there.
When I first sent BTS and their label my original demo of the song, it already had this vocal chop in it. And then once I got vocals back from Jungkook, I implemented some of his vocal layers into it just so that it would blend with the vocals that were happening in the chorus, and it would just end up being a doubled layer of what he was already doing in the chorus.
Yeah. This man's a genius. Okay. See, I'm dumbfounded.
And so here's how the whole chorus sounds.
Yeah, I want to hear this. Oh, okay. The one that I was saying, it's like a flute type synth. It's like a flute type synth. No, you idiot. It's a vocal chop. I never would have guessed that. He processed that vocal so much. Everything he said with with all the effects that he threw on it, the delay, the de-esser, damn. So that was something different for me. That was definitely a lot of fun. I almost felt like I was like competing with myself to see how much I actually got right when I actually did the initial reaction to Euphoria. And Euphoria pretty much cut in line. That's okay. On Twitter, House of Cards won the poll for the next song that I'm gonna react to by BTS, but I'm gonna react to the group twice before I do the House of Cards reaction. The main takeaway here is I still wanna know what's up with the gun sound and that beat. Other than that, I don't really have much more to say. And I don't have a cool outro line yet, so I'll just say I appreciate you guys. Nada.